So I became interested in doing restorative circles in my class because I was actually asked to do this by the administration to go to sort of like a field trip, if you will, for teachers, where I got to learn about restorative practices. I think they chose me just because I try to do new things in my classroom and I try and make all my kids feel very comfortable. So after going to that, I really realized that for me, restorative practices in general fit my lifestyle. It's more about forgiving other people and working on a solution together and moving forward versus, one of the ways you might see it in high school is a kid getting in trouble and getting suspended. But this is a different approach. It's more an approach where you can have the kid learn from their mistakes and truly understand what they've done wrong and feel what they've done wrong so that moving forward they can understand what not to do in the future. And for me, that just resonated a lot more deeply. And so after that, I was like, I'm putting this in my classroom. It's great.
So restorative practices, I guess the way that we look at it is twofold. The first piece is really to build community, to help students form relationships, build trust among each other and get to know each other. But then it's also a way restorative practices can be used to respond to challenging behaviors. So when there are difficulties or issues between two students, it's a way to respond to that. And it also gives students a framework then to be able to repair harm between them. So if there's something happened when people are affected, they're able to repair that relationship.
So just as a teacher and then an administrator, I think at the backbone of everything we do, if we want to achieve success, the relationship piece is really at the heart of it. So as a classroom teacher, it's important for teachers to build relationships with students. As an administrator, it's important for us to have relationships with families, students, staff, community members. So knowing that there's a deliberate way to build and repair relationships, that's kind of why I was interested in restorative practices when I had the opportunity to go to a training. I was really happy to be able to have that opportunity and to learn more about just how to better build relationships.
A few of the ways that I've used restorative practices in my classroom are I've had conversations when kids have had problems with each other. I've been able to pull them aside, usually not during that class hour, but I've been able to pull them aside and have a restorative conference with them and just ask them both what happened and how can we fix this problem moving forward. I've also used this as a whole class. For example, when we are talking about issues that are really tough to talk about, we like to put the whole class in a circle so that everybody can see each other and just give everybody a voice. It's really important for me, for my kids to feel like they're being heard. And so by doing this, everybody gets a chance to say what it is that they want or what they feel or whatever their feelings are, and they can express that to the whole group and everybody hears them. So everybody has a voice, which is really important. As far as academically, I've actually put this in Spanish by kids, again, forming a circle, but being able to say, where's your favorite vacation? And we just can start that way. So that gets the kids speaking Spanish a little bit, it gets the kids talking, but then we can take it from there and turn it into a bigger conversation about doing your homework instead of not doing your homework, or treating people fairly, or whatever it is that's the problem. And like I said, being that everybody can have their voice and share with everybody, it's worked really well in the classroom.
At the elementary level, we tend to have a lot of friendship issues or other problem-solving social issues among students. So when we're looking at different ways that we can help our kids address that, how do we teach them skills to communicate well with each other? How do we, get them to understand the effect their behavior has on relationships? We started to brainstorm, what are different, interventions or ideas that we could use to address that. And last year, we started to use some restorative practices to build community in a fourth grade classroom where there seemed to be a lot of issues between the kids. So that's kind of what got us interested. Let's try another way to address this. How else could we build community, when there's repeated problems among students? So we started it with fourth grade last year, and then we're doing it a little bit with sixth grade this year. But that's kind of what started it, needing a new way to address those issues.
In terms of community, we definitely want to encourage communication and problem solving throughout the community. So whenever we use those, we think that problems are best solved when people address them and can get to the core. And then we also think that restorative practices help build the empathy piece, where if two students that might be in conflict can understand each other's point of view, it's a really powerful way to build empathy in the individual, but also perspective taking and being able to really understand why someone may have been upset. And in some of the other ways, when we do it with proactive problem solving means, it builds community because it sends the message that we're all in it together.
I think restorative practice